to Season 2, Episode 50 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host, Travis McNeil, and today is our Season 2 season finale as we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches in Impact Wrestling history with match number 1 on our list, which is the TNA X Division Championship match between the champion AJ Styles and the challenger Samoa Joe from the TNA Turning Point 2005 event held on December 11th, 2005. I had mentioned when these two squared off at Sacrifice 2005, which was a video early in our countdown, that these two have undeniable chemistry with each other, and that was never better displayed than it was in this match from Turning Point. I've talked about it at length through both seasons of this show so far, that I absolutely love what I refer to as the Sting Vader dynamic, where you have, the monster, powerful, hard-hitting, heel, and scrappy, undersized, plucky babyface, but that can legitimately bring the fight to the heel and fight back while also doing a tremendous job, selling that beating. And that is what we have with the two of these guys. So the match at Sacrifice was the finals of the Super X Cup tournament. Samoa Joe had debuted in TNA, had begun his steamrolling of the X Division that led him to the arguable face of the X Division in AJ Styles in the finals. Joe came out on top, but, with that, the shenanigans involving Christopher Daniels, so it was a little bit of a disputed finish. That led to the triple threat match at Unbreakable, where AJ Styles became the X Division champion. Of course, Joe was not involved in the fall. Styles would, continue to feud with Christopher Daniels. This led us into the Elimination X match at Genesis in 2005 that saw Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels be the respective survivors for their team. It led to Samoa Joe destroying Christopher Daniels in the post-match, and I've spoken about this in previous videos as well, beating him down, hitting him with a muscle buster on a chair, and busting him open. Samoa Joe would carry around his towel, which was soaked and stained in the blood of Christopher Daniels, almost as a war trophy in the month that would follow. AJ Styles took umbrage to that, being the X Division champion, being the face of the X Division, and even though he had this rivalry with Christopher Daniels, there was a mutual respect there. And this is where we were first, told the unspoken code of the X Division, where, these wrestlers, they compete, to the utmost of their abilities, but they draw the line when the bell rings, and what Samoa Joe did to Christopher Daniels, went against that code. So AJ Styles, he has that history already with Joe. We add this personal grudge on top, and we get this match, which is absolutely fantastic, and as you can see by its positioning on this list, is, in my opinion, the best TNA match of all time. They establish right away the dynamic that they are going for. AJ Styles immediately brings the fight to Samoa Joe and hits a big suplex very early on, which looked great and showed, much like they did at Sacrifice, that AJ Styles will not be intimidated by Samoa Joe and that he knows that he can stand toe-to-toe with him. AJ blasts him early on with the drop kick, and Joe just proceeds to go to his signature slaps and kicks and beats him down in absolutely brutal fashion, including a sweep of AJ's legs while he's on the ring apron that he basically takes a head first bump onto the apron off of. Joe proceeds to grab him in powerbomb position and swing him around and, swing him head first into the guardrails. That's a signature Joe spot that's probably never looked more brutal than it did in this match, and that sums this match up. It is absolutely brutally stiff, and it is these guys going through their signature offense on each other, but with extra juice thrown in. They beat the absolute hell out of each other in this match. AJ just bumps huge off of every kick and chop and strike that Joe does, and, gives it right back to Joe. And just a little twist on that signature offense. So, Samoa Joe does the boot scrapes and the running face wash in the corner, right? Signature Joe spot. He throws a little twist on here too, just to make it even more brutal. And instead of the running face wash, he basically hits like a running flying boot to AJ's face. That was absolutely disgusting. That's a move, Joe normally does from a standing position. He crossed his two moves together, and it was incredibly disgusting. They do big stuff here. AJ goes for a springboard raw on it. Joe just plants him with a powerbomb. Transition the Boston Crab as he does. When AJ gets the ropes, Joe pulls him back and does, the high angle crab off of that. This is something they did at Sacrifice that kind of saw, AJ push up out of it. And instead, AJ doesn't bother to, waste that strength. He just boots Joe in the head repeatedly to break the move. AJ, goes deep into his arsenal. He busts out a Fosbury flop, one of the best looking ones he has ever done in his career. Commentary mentions that that's a move that they hadn't seen AJ do in a couple of years prior to this match. So again, showing, that these guys know each other well at this point, and that AJ really has to dig deep to throw some new tricks at Joe, and that's exactly what he does. Again, just upping the brutality. AJ hits the phenomenal forearm, one of my favorite moves of all time, the springboard forearm that he does that always looks so great. But he just throws his entire body onto the back of Joe's head and neck. It was brutal. Just a 220 plus pound man just falling on the back of your head and neck. It was disgusting. We get, again, more brutal strikes and kicks. Samoa Joe just hits an incredibly brutal, disrespectful back chop. I've talked about back chops in this series before, and AJ responds in kind by drilling with the Pele. Joe hits one of the nastiest lariats that you will ever see to cut off an AJ run of offense that bloodies up AJ's mouth. AJ kicks out at one on that. Joe follows up with a Tiger Driver. AJ kicks out on one on that, just showing that he will not be denied. We get a big tease of the Avalanche muscle buster here, which is something that Joe had very rarely hit in Ring of Honor. He had hit it on Homicide, in a pretty infamous match at Do or Die in 2003. He'd hit it on Jay Briscoe before, but very seldomly seen. They tease it here. They don't do it. I don't believe Joe ever hit that move in his TNA run, but they did the tease here, which was great. AJ fights out, manages to pull Joe off the top rope and powerbomb him down, and then hit Joe with the Styles Clash for a really, really close near fall. AJ at this point, really doesn't know what more he has in him. Goes to the top rope, maybe to hit the spiral tap, who knows? And we get a finish that, isn't maybe 100% clean, but is clean enough, and it shows the desperation that Joe had to do that I think really adds a nice ribbon onto this overall package. It didn't leave me disappointed whatsoever. So as AJ goes to the top rope, Joe pushes the referee into the ropes. The referee, kind of got involved in their finish at Sacrifice, where, when Aaron, rack bomb from AJ, clipped the referee. So Joe uses the referee to his advantage here, knowing that it worked for him before, and he pushes him into the ropes. AJ, though, rather than get crotched on the top, he manages to jump off, comes around Joe, goes for an Oklahoma roll off the ropes. Joe is able to pull him back into the choke. That's a signature Joe counter that, AJ was a little bit thrown off of his game with, the ref being thrown into the ropes. And it allowed, Joe to put him away with the choke. AJ lasted the longest that any, competitor in Joe's run up until that point had lasted in the Coquina Clutch, but it was enough to, allow him to succumb to it. And Samoa Joe became the new X Division champion. Post-match, we thought, you'd maybe get a bit of a show of respect there. Joe teased it, and then, continued the assault on AJ Styles, which, led to the return of Christopher Daniels to even the odds, and the three of them would be, attached at the hips together, for the next half a year throughout their feud. This match blew me away in 2005. It was the Unbreakable match that got all of the hype. It got the 5-star rating from Meltzer, and it was a match that, really drew a lot of people to TNA that weren't already, watching the company at that point. I feel like this match was criminally underlooked because I feel that it is even better than that triple threat. It is absolutely incredible. These guys, like I said, they've had great matches throughout their careers. This was by far the best. They made absolute magic on that night in December 2005. That brings us to the conclusion of our list. I've had an absolute blast going through and doing this deep dive into TNA. I've been a huge fan of the company, from its origin. I'm hoping that, this leads to some people that, either didn't watch TNA, through those different glory year periods that they had, or just wants to go back and re-experience it. Impact Plus is an incredible value. Subscribe for a month or two, do a binge watch project of your own, and you will find so much good in there. You'll find a lot of bad too, because that's kind of TNA in a nutshell. But the good far outweighs the bad. There are some of the best pro wrestling matches that you will ever see. That I feel just over the years have been a little bit lost in the shuffle. So hopefully you've enjoyed this series. I will be back very soon with season 3. I'm again very excited for what the topic is going to be for that one. You will see that announced on Twitter in the next little bit. Over the next week or two, while I prep for season 3, I'll kind of give some fun facts about this countdown. If you've missed any videos, go back and watch them. And like I said, a nice thing that TNA does as well is, in addition to Impact Plus, a lot of these matches are available for free on the TNA YouTube. Their channel is fantastic. And if you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling50, specifically on my Twitter account, you'll see that anytime a match is available for free, I've linked it there. So there's lots of good free content that there's really no excuse for you to miss. That is all for season 2 though. Please subscribe to the channel here on YouTube so that you are aware when season 3 drops. Until next time, I am Travis McNeil, and join me again as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50. Top 50.